Welcome back with us again, listeners. We appreciate you having with us to another episode, Business Leadership Experts, as we are continuing our prior conversation on the 5 financial pillars every business owner needs to know. And if you were with us in our last segment, Donna explained to us those 5 pillars being liquidity, profit margin, your sales, your assets, and your ability your debt and ability to borrow money. In the last one, Donna talked to us a little bit about, she picked out her top 2 or 3, and we discussed liquidity. This time around, we're going to be talking about profit margin. And by now, everyone knows who Donna Febus is. She's internationally known as the virtual CFO at Temple Executive Coaching, and she is also the owner of Integrity Business Advisors. So Donna, in this segment, we're going to talk about profit margin, and the important elements to it, and possibly some things that we can do to kind of help increase increase those 2 areas of both our profit and profit margin. But Donna, they both have the same words. Okay, there's only one word that distinguishes these 2. Okay, we've got profit margin. So what in the world is the difference between my profit and my profit margin?
So it's a very good question, Mike. And thank you for that introduction. You always crack me up when you say things like that. Just throws me completely off. So let's just jump in, okay?
Yeah.
Your profits. So you've got profit and profit margin. Mm-hmm. The profit is your total revenue minus expenses. Let me give you an example, just, in case somebody's not watching, or, oh, I guess I don't have anything on the screen today, so that doesn't really matter, but I'll break it down anyway. Freight broker, let's say you're a freight broker and you earned $5 million in gross sales. Okay. Your freight costs, or your freight expense, as I used to call it, was $4 million. That leaves you with $1 million in profit. Okay.
Got it.
And now we're just talking above your operating costs, okay, just for the sake of simplicity. Okay,
got it.
All right, so profit margin is a measurement, not a number. So it's a more of a measurement of that profitability. Okay, so where profit's measured in dollars, profit margin is a measurement done in percentages.
Okay.
So if everybody's seen a profit and loss statement, the profit margin, or excuse me, the profit, calculating profit is very simple math. It's revenue minus expense, right? Then you come up with your profit.
Okay.
So profit margin is just a tad bit more tricky. There's just a little bit more to it. So not too much, but a little bit. So I'm going to explain that. Okay. Right. So to calculate your profit margin, you're going to divide your income. So this would be your gross, profit, your gross profit line. So you've got, let me see, I want to explain it so you can follow me. Okay. So you've got your gross sales minus your cost of sales.
Okay.
Gives you your gross profit. Okay. So you're going to take that line. All right.
My gross profit. Okay.
And so you're going to take that line and, divide that net income by your total sales.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So let's use an example again here, and I'll use those same numbers so it's easy to follow.
Okay.
We've got 5 million in revenue.
Got it.
Our expenses are 4 million, leaves us 1 million in profit. So we're going to take that 1 million profit and divide it by 5 million.
Okay.
And we come up with a 20%. That comes up with our 20% profit margin.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's take it a step further. I'll show you how it changes.
Okay.
All right. So let's assume that the same company increased its sales by $500,000.
Well done.
So now yeah, yay. So now they're making 5.5 million in sales. All right. To
Okay.
get the sale, to get those increased sales, let's say that they had to do some more advertising
Okay.
and they needed to hire another person. So they spent an extra $100,000 to do all that, right?
Right.
So instead of their costs being 4 million, their costs now are 4.1 million.
All right. Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So that also changes what their profit is. So now instead of it being 1 million, it's 1.4.
Okay.
Because they made an extra 500,000, but they only spent an extra 100,000, left them another 400,000 in profit.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Got
you're
it.
going to take that same calculation to calculate that that profit margin.
Right.
So 1.4 million divided by 5.5. And what you get this time with this little change is 25.45%.
Okay. So we're dealing, oh, I mean, again, they only share one commonality. They both have the word profit in it, but they serve two different purposes. Right? So I think we all understand what profit is. Like you said, take our gross, our expenses, we subtract those from our revenue. Voila, there's the profit. However, we're dealing with a different beast here when it comes to the profit margin, like you pointed out, Donna. So why is it really important for me to kind of mess around, and why do I need to know what my profit margin is? What's the big deal?
Well, because it's a calculation, it's going to show you how much of your overall sales that the company is actually keeping.
Oh, okay.
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 So when you look at a number, you're gonna be like, oh, I got $1 million. No, you don't.
Right.
You know, how much of that, let's break it down into a dollar. How much of each dollar does the company keep? In this particular situation, they're keeping 20 cents.
Whoa. Everyone slow down now.
So 80 cents is going to costs, right?
Right. Okay.
That's the easiest way that I can explain that. And that's why it's important for you to know, those costs and that breakdown. And especially when you take it a step further and you go into your operating costs, because you can get into big trouble real quick with the wrong calculation.
Okay, Donna. So now we're starting to understand, it like the, like that old saying, revenue is vanity, margin is your sanity. So now we understand, out of your example, out of every dollar we make, we're keeping 20 cents on that particular dollar. This now kind of explains to me that I can now kind of drill down and start understanding, or give me an opportunity to go back and look to see, where do I need to make some corrections, right? How can I increase that profit margin? How can I keep more of that dollar than it going out the door? Well done, right, Donna. So what are, I mean, since this is kind of where we're at, what are some things from, in your experience, Donna, working with, what are some tips you can share on how people can kind of improve their profit?
Yeah, so there's a whole slew of things that you can do. But one of those, and this is a big one, and that's to, keep track of all your costs. Okay.
Okay.
So if you've got bad information going in, you got bad information coming out.
Ouch.
Okay.
Okay.
So consider your overhead costs, which is also known as your OPEX, operating costs.
Okay.
And make sure that you're going to incorporate all of those numbers, so everything is covered in your expenses when you're, trying to price your services.
Right.
Okay. So you always want to build in that markup that we've talked about before. And I'm not going to go into that right now because that's a
Okay.
whole other animal that we covered.
Okay.
I can't remember what the deal was called, but yeah, that was a whole segment that we did.
Yeah, that was a good
just
one.
on the markup.
That was a good one.
The other thing you can do is have, work to establish clear and consistent identifiers so that your customers can quickly recognize your business. So your branding, maybe you've got a flashy paint design, where, oh, hey, that's ABC Trucking,
Got it.
and they just know your trucks just based off of what it looks like going down the road,
Okay.
So because they're going to become familiar with you, it's going to, get that phone to ring just a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. So you can also enroll the business in the right type of insurance program.
Okay.
So, that there's a number of insurance companies out there and they all have different carriers that they can work with.
Correct.
Okay. So you can go out to these carriers annually and essentially make them fight for your business.
Okay.
So you can get the most reasonable price for your benefits. Okay. So they can go out and meet with insurance agents to determine how you can reduce costs, by evaluating the coverage and the deductibles also. So there's all sorts of different ways that they can put those plans together to reduce the cost.
Okay.
So that's a huge cost to employers, are those health and whatnot benefits. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a big one.
Makes sense.
And my last tip today would be to use industry experts and consultants to help you improve your business. So, people that have a lot of experience in an industry can save you years of time trying to, figure it out on your own. So leverage their knowledge. You can find them in trade journals, magazines, associations. You can find them online. I'll give you my phone number,
Absolutely. You can find an industry expert in Donna Febus, our virtual CFO, at templeexecutivecoaching.com.
Right. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. So just on that note, as we wrap up, I want to mention that, for my clients, to help them establish understanding what their current financial strength is, I use these 5 key points, and what I do is I run a financial health assessment.
Okay.
And it determines a financial score that's based between 1 and 100, ranking in each of the 5 key areas.
Ooh.
And so I have an example that I can share. So if anyone is interested in getting a free copy of what the assessment looks like and what it might look like for them, they can find it on the website at www.templeexecutivecoaching.com. And it's under the products and services tab. All they have to do is just click that link and they'll be able to see it.
Okay. All right. Well, nice, Donna. And if anyone has any questions for Donna, you can get a hold of her. Look at the email address right above her head there. Donna at Temple Executive Coaching. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging with us. We appreciate having you. And hey, look, if you like this segment and you think, or perhaps you feel that it could be of benefit to someone else, please like and share. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Temple Executive Coaching Podcast, where we engage with experts in business growth for small and medium-sized companies. If you're an expert and would like to be featured on the Temple Executive Coaching Podcast, please email Mike Temple at mike@templeexecutivecoaching.com.